In this video, I'm going to teach you how to install a car seat using a locking clip to keep the seatbelt tight.
Locking clip installations are challenging and usually require 2 people. Therefore, when possible, we recommend doing one of the following to avoid needing a locking clip. 1. Install the car seat with the lower anchors, latch. Or 2. Select a car seat that has a seatbelt locking device built in. Or 3. Use the seatbelt's own locking feature if it has one.
First, let me explain what a locking clip is and does. Most car seats come with one, but not all. The locking clip is a metal device that goes on the seatbelt. It only goes on a shoulder and lap belt, and basically it turns this shoulder and lap belt into just a lap belt, in that my lap portion is a fixed length, the shoulder portion is loose until you slam on the brakes, and the shoulder belt will lock and take over. So for installing the car seat, what we need to do is figure out how short or long the lap portion needs to be to keep this child's car seat tight. One other really important thing is where the locking clip is located. The locking clip must go right next to the latch plate. The latch plate is the part with the silver tongue. The locking clip can be up to about 1.5 inches away, but not farther than that. The other thing is, one trick when it comes to buckling the seatbelt back in, it's helpful to have an extra person help you with this. They're going to take one hand and make a number 2. Grab the buckle from underneath. In this car it's hard because there's casing around the buckle, but usually this works. Grab the underside of the buckle and pull it up as hard as you can, and use their thumbs on the top of the latch plate to squeeze the belt together into the buckle. So I'm going to take my locking clip off and walk you through the installation. First, set your car seat down. Make sure you've read the instruction manual to your child's car seat. Now, route the seatbelt through the proper belt path. In this car seat, the rear-facing belt path is under the child's legs, which is usual. Make sure you've also read the manual about where to place the seatbelt in relation to the child's crotch buckle. Once you've done that, it's often helpful if the seatbelt has its own locking mode, which is one where if you pull it slowly to the end and then let it back in, hear that ratcheting? That's the seatbelt's own locking mode. It's helpful to use that at first, and I'll show you why. The reason we're not going to use the seatbelt's own locking mode as the means of keeping this car seat tight is that because all the tension is upwards in the shoulder belt, on a lot of rear-facing car seats, all that tension starts to tilt the car seat on its side. It keeps tilting, 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 and it won't straighten out. So I'm going to show you how to use a locking clip. You're going to come from behind the seat or wherever you're going to be applying pressure. Rear-facing seats like pressure here. Pull the cover aside. It's best to always pull the shoulder belt, just the top belt, from inside the car seat rather than from what I would call this, which is outside the seat. So take just the top belt, which is the shoulder belt, inside the seat. Apply pressure to the seat. All seats like to be wiggled side to side as you pull. And then here, because I'm using the seatbelt's locking mode for a minute, pull all the slack up to here. Now it's time for me to put the locking clip on. But in order to get it on, I have to have my seatbelt unbuckled. But if I just unbuckle it right now, I'll lose all of the work I've done of guesstimating how tight the belt needs to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hands underneath both belts, and I'm going to hold together the lap and shoulder belt, pinching them just like the locking clip is going to do in a minute. Unbuckle the belt, keep pinching the seat belt together, and you're going to put the locking clip on. Starts from underneath. You should see 4 prongs on the top and a bar on the bottom when you're done. If you have the belt in its locking mode, you must take the belt out of the locking mode. Make sure it is out. See how I can pull it in and out? It's definitely out of the locking mode. Thread it back through. And now you're going to have someone else come and help you buckle it. As you start to get the seatbelt lined up, it's often helpful to tip the car seat away from the buckle and then gradually straighten it out. And then this person is going to push. They can rock it a little bit side to side. They can pull from here. And then once it's buckled, then you're going to check if it's tight. hold this car seat right near the belt path, pull towards you and away from you as much as you can. It should move less than an inch side to side and less than an inch front to back. This is really tight, but let's say we checked and we found that it was loose. You do not need to start from scratch. Let me show you what to do. You're gonna unbuckle the seatbelt. If you buckled the car seat and checked and found that it was too loose, here's a way to make the seatbelt a little tighter. We suggest going systematically and tightening it up by about an inch at a time. This is going to require switching hands. Keep in mind that the locking clip is pinching the two belts together. So times when I'm taking the locking clip off, I'm going to be using one of my hands to hold the belt together at times when I want to keep the length set. So I'm going to start off by having my left hand hold the lap and shoulder belt together, and I'm going to pinch the belt like so to get half of the locking clip out. I don't need to take any more than half off. Now I'm going to take out an inch of slack from the lap portion, which means that the shoulder portion will get longer by an inch. Instead of holding any more with my left hand, I'm going to switch and have my right hand hold. My index finger and thumb are going to pinch the lap and shoulder belt tightly to the latch plate. Now I'm going to let go with my left hand. Move the clip out of the way for a second, and I'm going to use my left index finger and thumb. I'm going to put my index finger between the lap and shoulder belt. My thumbnail is going to mark off and pinch right at the end of the latch plate. So my index finger and thumb are pinching each other through the shoulder belt, and I'm going to let go with this hand and slide. However far my thumbnail gets from the latch plate, that's how much I've tightened the belt. This is way too much. That's about 3 inches. So I'm going to slide it back. So my thumbnail is about an inch from the latch plate. I'm going to pinch the shoulder and lap belt together at the latch plate again, and I'm going to put the locking clip back on. It's always helpful to pinch the belt, and the clip will go on more easily. Again, always make sure you can see the 4 prongs on top and the bar on the bottom. Then you would try to buckle your car seat in again. If it was still too loose when you checked the installation, then you would keep repeating this process. If you found that it was absolutely too tight and you could not get it buckled, then you would do this process, except you would put slack into the lap belt rather than what we've shown, which is taking slack out of the lap belt.